Hey guys, welcome back to the This Is Soul Skate Shop YouTube channel. I'm Ivo, we're in the This Is Soul Skate Shop and we're going to do a review of the USD 7 and the GAWDS TEAM skate and Tim Franken skate. Complicated name, I'll tell you more about it in this video. Welcome back, we are here of course in the This Is Soul Skate Shop where you can see all these skates, and if you want to try some, come by our store in Amsterdam so that you can feel them on your feet. Because no matter how much I can tell about skates in videos like this, the best way for you to know if a skate is right for you is to have them on your feet. If it's really impossible for you to come by the store, then watching videos like this is really helpful, because in these videos I'll explain everything there is to know about a specific model, and I'll run through the history, tell you my honest opinion about it and what sets this skate apart from other skates. We have of course a web shop on thisissoul.com where you can buy these skates as well, so check it out over there. So for today it's the USD 7, GAWDS TEAM FRANKEN and GAWDS TEAM skate. This skate has gone through many names. Originally it was the USD Gricon skate. I actually had this skate. This was 20 years ago. I was so young back then. And it was not my favorite. I actually bought a new skate, I think a couple months later already. So it must have been like 2003 or something. I tried researching it a little bit, and the first time I could see the name USD Gricon on the internet was 2004. So around that period, this skate came out. It was a totally different era. Like skates were really chunky, bulky, and it was kind of like more like a hip hop sneaker vibe. And that's also the look that this skate had back in the day, because it had skins. So a skin is where we have like a normal hard boot like this, and you put a piece of fabric around it. Very cool concept. So it came out both as a skinned version and as a non-skinned version. There were pro skates and team skates. It was like the budget skate from USD, and that's kind of like what it remained as. But they did do a lot of improvements. Especially the Souplate in the beginning was really slow. So that was the first thing that they replaced. And then, to be honest, the original Gricon was also not the most beautiful skate. So around 2007, I think at first they changed the Souplate, and then later they also changed like the look of the skate. They made it a lot more clean. So if you look at the 2007 editions, it looks very similar to the current skates, but then with the different Souplate. And the Souplate back then actually had a raised heel, meaning that the internal shell goes up in the back, and underneath the heel is just a block of plastic. Just a couple of years later, in 2011, they made the boot flat and put the current Souplate on. So this skate is kind of like unchanged since 2011. This is a quite interesting thing that they did. It's the only skate that I know of where they ever had it as a raised heel version first and then as a flat bottom boot later. So this Souplate is on the market already since 2011, but in 2017 they improved it by making some new holes in it, because the original Souplate was really loose. You could just move it really easily, and now it's a lot more solid. So that was another nice improvement. But then the model kind of like faded away from USD as soon as it was like the USD 7. By the way, they changed the naming of the name from VII, so the Roman name of writing 7, to just like 7 written out in like SEVEN. When they changed the formation of the boot, when they made it a flat bottom boot, they also changed the way you write the name. It faded out a little bit from USD, and it was not really available for maybe a couple of years, around 2018, 19, 20. And then in 2021, the Tim Franken came out. And since then, it was under the GAWDS brand, and GAWDS is, just like USD, is in the Power Slide umbrella. GAWDS is owned by Franco Morales. The name 7 has not appeared yet in the GAWDS marketing or anything. So that's why it's a little bit hard to name this skate, because this is the Tim Franken and that's like a pro skate, so that's why it's called Tim Franken. And this is a team skate, meaning that it's not a pro skate. But it doesn't have like a name. Like a team skate is not like the name of this specific boot. It's just like kind of like a category where it falls in. So let's just keep on calling it the 7, even though GAWDS itself doesn't call it like that. Okay. A cool thing that the GAWDS did was they made other eyelets. So that's new since 2001 editions. They put on a metal buckle, of course. That's really nice. And they made this glossy, shiny effect on the boot. I think that's a little bit of a nice visual effect because it breaks up the shell a little bit, because this shell was always, it was clean, but maybe a little bit even too clean because there was no lines on it at all. And this creates a little bit nice of a line. So visually, it's a cool extra. And of course, like the Tim Franken comes with a MyFit liner, and then the Team Skate comes with a cheaper, more fluffy, thicker liner. I would say that if you take like the Team Skate, maybe you want to have one size bigger, but you do have to think that this will break in a lot. And then with the MyFit liner, probably there's a little bit more room in the shell. It's more true to size, probably. In general, I think that the sizing of the UST7 is just a normal fit. So in general, I think take your shoe size, but do keep in mind that the skate comes as a dual sized. So for example, 43 and 44 use the same molds. And it's announced as well as 43, 44. So it's bundled together. So you can never like take one size bigger or one size smaller. It's always 2 sizes bigger or 2 sizes smaller. So that's just how this works. So the fit has a lot to do with the shell, of course, the shape of the shell. And I would say that the shape of the shell it's nice and wide. It's definitely not narrow, but it's also not like super wide or something. And the fit also has to do with the liner. And the liner you can always take out. That's this part here. The liner will break in a lot. It has a really nice neoprene toe, so that's nice for stretching it a little bit. But if you just put in your hand in this liner, you see that there's so much padding here in the back, and that will kind of like all disappear after you skate it for a while. Then you see on the liner a shock absorber, and since this is a flat bottom boot, you need a shock absorber to get you back into that raised heel position. And I actually think that this is too low. You want to be a little bit higher with your heel. I think the normal height difference is 1.8 centimeters or something, so about 2 centimeters. And this is definitely less than 2 centimeters. So if you get this skate, you might have the feeling that you're falling backwards a little bit compared to other models. So it's a good idea maybe to try to see if you like skating it with an additional shock absorber, because you can just buy these things and on thisisall.com, of course. Put an extra in it so that you have more like the natural precision. Okay, next topic is the frame. So both these skates come with the Kaiser frame, and I think all UST7s that came before also came with a Kaiser frame like this or similar, or like previous models of comparable frames. Just like an aggressive frame, mostly anti-rocker. Both of these skates are anti-rocker, meaning that there's only 2 wheels and that there's 2 small grind wheels there. This is kind of like what you want if you want to make grinding easy. I think this is one of the best frames on the market to make grinding easy. But that also means that rolling is not easy because you only have 2 wheels. Steering is kind of like unnatural. You're really slow. Every crack in the ground you really feel. And then what a lot of people do is they start experimenting with flat setup. And that is if you have 4 wheels, and that's a lot smoother in steering. It's a lot smoother over bad surfaces. But then grinding is really terrible again. So of course you can change the frames if you want to have like a flat setup on it. I don't think that this frame in particular is a good flat frame, so I would advise you, if you want to have a flat setup, to change the frame. The mounting is UFS. That means that you can take this frame off and put on any UFS frame. On our website you can select, of course, for within frames within the mount, and then filter so that you can only see the UFS frames. any UFS frame will fit. Doesn't matter the size or what kind of style it is. So you can put like the tiniest of tiny frames on it, which would be really unstable and maneuverable, or like really big long frames for maybe like long distances, or like the 3-wheel frame or a flow skating type frame. Here I have a version of the boot without the sole plate. I just took it off for you to see it. And one funny thing is that you can kind of like still tell that this used to be a raised heel boot, because it's not entirely flat. If you just put it on the ground like this, you see that it's not entirely flat. So that's kind of interesting. The sole plate is entirely flat if you look at it on the inside, but then on the edge it goes up just a little bit to cover up the fact that the boot is not flat. With some boots, it's possible to take the sole plate off and to mount the frame directly on the shell. With this shell in particular, I don't think that's a good idea. If you do it because of the shape of the boot as well, but also because of how weak the plastic is, I think you'll have too much movement. So you need the sole plate. And then even with the sole plate, I think that this boot is maybe not the best one if you want to have like the super big wheels, because then the leverage is also really high, and then the movement of the frame underneath the boot will be too much. Interesting thing about this sole plate is that it's also used on the USD carbon skates. Like the USD carbon and the GAWDS Franken skates are kind of like the same type of boot, and the GAWDS skates actually come with this sole plate. And if you want to put it on a USD carbon, it will fit. It doesn't fit really nicely though. You do have to like really press it on, and there's some extra room, but once you tighten all the bolts and it sits, it kind of like looks okay. There's some kind of small gaps. We're gonna do a video someday in the future about what flat bottom boots will fit with what flat bottom sole plate, so that you can maybe customize. So keep an eye out on the channel. Subscribe, of course, if you want to see that video, because there's probably a few other sole plates that will work on this boot as well. Let's say maybe like a Seba CJ sole plate will fit, or the new Standard brand sole plate might also fit. And it's really interesting to like kind of like mix and match and know what's possible. But that's one fun thing about the sole plate, for sure, that it fits on USD carbon. Let's see where else it fits on. One small downside of this sole plate is that it doesn't have wheel recesses. So if you want to have like bigger wheels just on the outside, then you need to have like a little hole here. And all modern sole plates that came out probably past like 2015 or 18 or something like that, kind of like have that. But you can always make it. Just take a Dremel and start like grinding, or take an actual grinder, like the ones that you use on metal, those types of things. And you'll be able to grind away the material pretty quickly, so there's no problem. If you don't want to do it, then we are customizing experts here, of course, at This Is Sole. And we have all those little tools that you want to maybe use on a skate. We have that available on our website. So if you buy the skates online, you can add like a wheel recess customization option to your shopping cart, and then we'll do it for you. I'm a big fan of this buckle. This is one of the best buckles in the industry. It's nice and solid, metal, and nice and strong. So no complaint there. I wouldn't upgrade it because it's so good. It is really long though, and you can see that the buckle goes underneath the cuff here, and that's no problem now, but if you have it on, there's actually pressure from your foot on the buckle, and it might be so that you cannot push it in any further because of that pressure. So it's nice that it goes in, because then it's away and it doesn't stick out anymore. But it's not nice that it gives so much pressure and it's so hard to put in. And the solution to that is cutting it off. You can just take like I don't know, a saw or a good pair of scissors and cut this. Then the buckle is of course mounted on the cuff, and it's mounted on like a standard buckle mount. So the distance between these two holes is always the same if the buckle is listed as an SBM3 on our website. So any buckle that's on our website with SBM3 will fit on this skate if you want to replace it. Yeah, the cuff has a nice buckle protector, so if you fall, you don't mess up the buckle. It has a V-cut cuff. Aesthetically, they could have maybe lowered the liner here as well, so it doesn't look so good. On the Pro Skate, they did do that this is a little bit lower. And V-cut cuffs, the idea of it is that if you lean backwards, that you have a little bit more leadway. I'm not even sure what I think of that. I tried skate with a V-cut, I tried skate with a straight cut and skate with a hockey cut, and I don't really per se notice the differences. Maybe some people at home do really prefer the cuts. Let me know if I'm wrong about this. Do you notice the differences between V-cuts, hockey cuts or straight cuts? Then the cuff is replaceable, and we do have some aftermarket cuffs, I think, of it, so you can change the colors. I think maybe black and white, that's it. There's never been like a colored version of it. All past USD7 but also the Grycon cuffs, they will fit on this skate. And forever since the first edition of these skates, there have been a little bit of a problem where if you go too much forward, then this will happen. If you want to prevent this, maybe you can cut it in a little bit. Maybe you can experiment with that. Because it's annoying if this happens on a session, because you cannot really push it back again. So then you have to like unscrew it and then remount it, kinda. This is one problem that USD or GAWDS never fixed. I'm not even sure if they're aware of it, but if you lean too much forward, this will always happen. In general, I think the forward flex of this skate is a little bit stiff, so there's a lot of resistance in the cuff, and yeah, I like that as well. So it's not per se a downside. It's just like it's something that you can also prefer. And then the sideways flex is just really good for royales and everything. This skate is really good on the sideways flex. It's probably a little bit too flexy to put on big wheels. If we're just talking about flex to the side, it's perfect for royales, but with big wheels, then it will be too much. Then the last topic, my least favorite topic of the day, is the wheels and bearings, because always my advice is kind of like the same. These wheels are fine. They're stock wheels. The bearings are also fine. They are not the best though. So what I usually advise is for people to just take the stock wheels, ride them until they break, and then upgrade them to some better quality, like roll-bed hydrogen or undercover wheels, or the GAWDS wheels are actually really good as well, like the aftermarket GAWDS wheels. So if you want to have like the best setup, you can also buy it, of course, when you get the skates. But then these wheels also don't cost anything. You can just ride them until they break as well. So that's your choice. So that's one way to upgrade the skate. Then another thing to upgrade is to, of course, put a better liner in it. The Intuition liner is, of course, one of the best liners. And then if you do that, I would also put in a better insole, because this one is really weak, and you want to have one that has a little bit more support, that it keeps your feet in the right position, because the first point of contact with your skate is the insole, and you want all your movement of your foot to be translated from the insole to the liner, to the shell, to the frame, to the wheels, so that you control your boot and that there's nothing that can move independently. Of course, you can put in some wax laces, and if you want to ride flat, then you can put in a flat frame. One other cool feature of this skate is that you can put on a skin. And this is a skin that we have had in the shop for a couple of years already. It's one of those products that we never had the chance to putting them online. The brand is GAWDS, and especially because we're making this video, I'll put them online to order as well. So you'll be able to see them on thisissold.com. We'll drop it in the comments, a link to it, if you want to check it out. And this is just a guy, his name is Guerrero, if I pronounce it correctly. And yeah, he just decided to make these skins. This was also, I think, still in the Valo era, where a lot of people skated the M12s with the skin, kind of like the current day Roach's domestic punk type of skates. They were really popular back then. And I haven't seen much of the GAWDS skins, and I tried Googling it just now before the recording this to see if like they still have like a website or something, but I couldn't find anything. So these might be one of the last ones that are available anywhere. Yeah, so you can just take the boot, take the Souplate off, and then wrap this skin around the shell. This was designed for like the USD7, of course, and the USD7 didn't have those fancy eyelets, kind of like the hiker style eyelets, which I really like. So I think that if you want to do this with the GAWDS skates, then you would need to take those eyelets out. And if you just put in something like an Allen key through the eyelet and you wiggle it a couple times, you can just pull these out. Okay, so that's not a big problem. It will take you 10 minutes, and then you can put in the laces again in the skin, because that's where you want to have the laces anyway. Then also there's no holes in the bottom for the mounting and for the Souplate, so you need to punch those holes. Of course, you have like these specialized punching tools, which is kind of like a nail, but then with a hollow tip. And then if you hit it with the hammer, you like take out a piece of the fabric. I don't have one of those, so I would just take a drill and drill a hole in the fabric probably, which is not the best way for sure. Just improvise, okay? You'll be able to make some holes. Also for the buckle, you'll need to make some holes to mount the buckle again, and then put the Souplate on it, and voila. So how do you like it? A completely new skate. Let me know in the comments what you think of the GAWDS skin. So let me know what you think of the skate. My overall review is that this is a great aggressive skate. There's nothing too much wrong with it. It does what it needs to do perfectly. The fit is great, the performance is great. It comes with a Fluid 4 frame, which is one of my favorite frames. There's no reason not to get this. If you want to learn more about other skates and maybe the upsides and downsides of those models, check out our YouTube channel to learn more. We make a new video every week, so consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.